Welcome back. Coming up in part 2, an interview with Evelyn Ng, the caption competition, Stick Me In, and of course, Daniel Negreanu on the putting green. But first, a little something we like to call Parkinson's Off the Wall.
To mark this year's World Series of Poker, we thought it might be a good idea to allow you, the viewers, to vote your favourite famous poker players onto our Wall of Fame. Well, that's what we thought, but we didn't think it for very long, because let's be honest, that's just plain boring. We thought it'd be way more fun if we just put all the famous poker players in the world on the wall to begin with, and allowed you to vote off the players that you liked least. What you need to do is send us your vote by email. In the interest of fairness, we're going to allow anybody who's voted off the wall to come on the show, and we're going to give them 1 minute to give their reasons why they think a great injustice has been done. Because of this, it might be a good idea if you gave us the reasons why you thought they didn't deserve their position here. So just remember, vote early and often.
Parg, you've played in America a lot lately. Have you played at all with Evelyn Ng?
I've played with her quite a bit the last few months, but she's very impressive. In fact, she impressed me quite a lot in the hand she lost, which is quite extraordinary. She played this big pot in the PPT in the Bay 101 against Don Barton, who'd had a few beers. And she made a really good play on him. And unfortunately, Don had a hand, but I mean, she really impressed me with that play. So don't be fooled by the good looks. I mean, she's a player.
Well, we're excited to have her here tonight. She's one of the few women eligible to play on the Professional Players Tour. She's established herself as a top poker pro over the last few years. Please welcome Evelyn Ng. So, Evelyn, welcome. Tomorrow, World Series of Poker kicks off. What's your plan? How many events do you think you're going to play?
I'm probably looking at 5 or 6 events. I'm playing all the limit and no limit hold'ems.
Because, I mean, most of the time, you used to mainly be a cash game player, didn't you? Now you're moving into tournaments. Do you find the transition tough, or?
It's definitely a lot more challenging than playing limit hold'em, but I mean, it's just totally reinfused my love for poker. It's just every day I'm thinking about new situations, and there's just so many different facets to No Limit that just make it so much more interesting.
Are you going to be playing cash games and tournaments this month, sort of like going back and forth?
I will be, but not quite so much. I just want to mainly focus on tournaments for now.
I mean, it's tough, isn't it, Park, playing both tournaments and cash games at the World Series?
It's tough playing either at the World Series.
Evelyn, you've also agreed you're going to be a little bit like our eyes and ears down at the World Series. Mm-hmm. When you're not actually playing in the event, you're going to be a bit of a roving reporter. What kind of things excite you about the World Series? I mean, who do you watch?
Well, I always keep an eye out for the new young guns coming out, and there's all these new internet players, so some interesting stories coming from there too.
Any names that impressed you last year? I mean.
Well, David Williams really impressed me last year. He played very well. He held himself very, very well at the table, and he's also had great results since.
I mean, basically, a couple of years ago, you would have been considered one of the youngest players in the game. Are you looking down now and saying these guys are just too young? They're all coming up now.
Well, they're not too young for me.
You're talking about me, then. It's been said before. Don't worry about it.
What do you think? Is it possible to learn poker that quick? I mean, you know, you were a Vegas pro for a lot of years, just making your living in the hold'em games before you even stepped up to the big games. Mm-hmm. Do you think, I mean, these guys are coming up so quick now?
They are coming up, but from the internet, I mean, you can get so many more hands in per hour playing on the internet, so you kind of get a speed course in poker from playing there. Although you do miss some of the live aspects of playing, you know, facing your opponents. So they have to make that transition as well.
Well, you live in Vegas now. When did you move there? What is it like? I mean, do you spend all your time with poker players?
I do end up spending most of my time with poker players just because that's my world and that's who I meet all the time. But, you know, I've lived here now on and off for like 8 or 9 years. So I pretty much know them all.
You know the town. You know everybody. All right, Ellen, are you much of a sports bettor?
Not at all.
Well, I hope you're going to be willing to play our game. We've got a game we call Beat the Bookie. It's a little bit of sports betting, a little bit of fun. You want to give it a try?
Sure, I'll gamble.
All right. Before we start, we'll just take out our Beat the Bookie cigar box and have a look at this.
Well, a little shot of the tournament area at the World Series of Poker, day before it all begins. I guess that's Jack McClellan in his suit.
And he's with the Schulmans. They're immaculately dressed as ever.
Standing there talking. How much money do you think Jack McClellan's got in his pocket, Parg?
I don't know, Jesse, but he's got a lot in the bank.
Well, that would be a nice beat the bookie. Let's try and guess how much money Jack McClellan has on him right now.
Okay, so Evelyn, we had a look there. That was Jack McClellan. And the question, of course, is how much money does Jack McClellan have in his pocket there? Our bookie has made the odds, and the choices, Parg, were between $0 and $100, 10 to 1. Between $100 and $1,000, minus 150, which is also 4 to 6 on. From $1,000 to $3,000, plus 150, or 6 to 4. And over $3,000, our bookie has offered 250 to 1. We have put $500 into this cigar box. Wow. And someone, one of our viewers, drawn from everybody who sends in emails and participates in our game, is going to win what's ever left in this cigar box at the end of our run, at the end of the World Series. And Evelyn, we're going to ask you to play this game and bet the viewers' money. You can bet as much as you want on this proposition, but no, if you lose the viewers' money, you're going to have to be responsible to the guy who would have won.
Okay.
So do you want to play?
Yeah.
How much do you think you want to bet of some lucky viewer's money?
I'll go with $100.
$100. Okay. And what are you going to bet on? Which option?
Well, first I want to know, does it count if he's carrying somebody else's buy-in in his pocket?
No, he's got other people's buy-ins in his bank account.
Parg, you helped make the odds there. You were there with our resident bookie. What is it? Just what he has in his pocket?
Yeah, well, Jack's own money.
Okay.
Well, I think I'm going to go the safe route, and I'm going to bet that he has between 100 and 1,000.
So that is option B at minus 150. So you'll be betting 100 to win 66. Is that right? All right. Let's see what happened.
Let's see, sir.
Can we ask you just one question?
Absolutely.
For our viewers.
Sure.
How much money have you got in your pocket?
$27.
$27. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And you're going to make somebody very rich today.
Okay.
And only half of it's his.
Well, Evelyn, easy come, easy go. You're going to have to be responsible to the person who wins for just doing $100 of their money. $27, Parg. What's Jack thinking?
He's thinking, well, if he borrows another $3, he's got 30.
Anyway, thanks for playing, Evelyn. And we're going to be back with you and have a three-way conversation later. But first,
Knee Trembler.
Ooh, that was close. Get in! No, this thing drifted. You said it was straight.
chance to kick back and relax here with both Evelyn and Daniel. I mean, the last couple of years, the World Series took a point of view where they would really roll back the limits at the final table. We saw a whole rash of big names winning bracelets. What do you guys think? Are we going to see these big names winning bracelets this year, or is it going to be more of a crapshoot?
It would be highly unlikely that big names are going to win all these events, but just because there's so many people that are going to be playing.
Oh, that's a relief.
Well, they're just outnumbered.
They got me.
But the structure did help. I mean, if you noticed last year, like you said, there was a lot more big names. The numbers will hurt them, but the structure, if it stays the same way that it was and lengthened, then it's a major advantage for the better players.
They're talking about every event being 2,000, 2,200 people. And of course, there are more no-limit hold'ems, you were saying before, Daniel, on the schedule. What do you think about this schedule?
I'm upset with it. I'm just going to come right out and say it. I think it's a disgrace to the idea. The hose event, there's not one mixed game event in the entire event. There's like 40 tournaments. You feel like you could have just one event that tests overall skill, not just hold'em. Clearly, you're going to get more hold'em event, more players per hold'em event, so they're going to make more money. But I feel like, as a respect for the game of poker, we need to respect all forms of poker, including Pot Limit Omaha and all the rest. If you look at the schedule, the first 5 out of the first 6 events are all hold'em events. So it's almost like the World Series of hold'em rather than the World Series of poker now.
But they have added shorthanded hold'em this year. There's two six-handed table No limit hold'em.
The one they added 2 more $1,000 rebuy events, no limit hold'em. They got to stop
That's
doing
probably
that.
your fault. I mean, if they're taking vig out of every buy-in and they reckon, well, we can get Negreanu 3 times, that's maybe 63, 64 buy-ins.
Right.
You know, they got accountants running the thing now, Daniel. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to take responsibility for what you created.
Okay.
What about the main event? 9 days this year. Is it going to be a huge advantage to not play that third day, of day A, B, and C, or is there?
It could be a huge disadvantage not playing the 4th day, I think.
There's 2 ways to look at it, I think. If you play on the first day, then you're going to be you're going to have all this time to twiddle your thumbs and go, what am I going to do? And I get antsy. I really don't like the 2 days in between because I don't know what to do in that time. I'm like sort of handcuffed. Can't do anything. You're just preparing. So I don't mind just going straight through, getting in a zone.
No,
but then
I like it. I wish there was like a month break between each each day.
There is something to be said though about like late on day 7. If you've played, if you had that 2 days extra, it's going to be beneficial. But realistically, as long as you know what you're getting into, there's ways to manipulate it and be positive about it and say, this is great for me. Oh, I got day 1, awesome. I got day 3, awesome.
Yeah, right. I don't think the statistics would agree with you. I think last year somebody actually worked it out that out of the last 30 players, 20 of them had played the first day.
Dan Harrington was the only guy who made the final table, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he was asleep for the first day, so it didn't really matter.
That's all for today. My thanks to our guests, Evelyn Ng, Daniel Negreanu, of course, Parg and Jackie. We'll see you next time. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint.